scoot over?
Yeah, just so we're both in the frame here.
Hey, you know we're live, right?
Are we?
Yeah.
Get the fuck out of the way.
Okay. Hi! Welcome! Oh, wait. You know what? Fuck. You know what I forgot? I forgot.
I was waiting for the intro. This is why I'm like sitting here thinking like it hasn't started yet.
You know that they can hear our audience too during that.
Uh-huh.
This is why we don't let me do live things.
Sean.
This is why we don't let me do live things. And I'm going to get out of the mirror shot. Hi! Welcome back to the week 2, or episode 2 of the season 13 podcast for JC Penni. Starting about 10 minutes behind schedule, as we often do. We like to be fashionably late here. So we're going to talk about the week 1 recap. We're going to talk about the waiver wire after week 1. We're going to talk about some week 2 predictions. One of the fun things I thought we could do as we're going through the gambit of week 1 results is to really discuss, like, I want us to each pick one team from the winners that is like, this is a title, and this is a title team in the making. This is the, like, because like part of the fun about finally being back is we can overreact to things, right? We can overreact and spend 40% of our free agent budget on one player. We can overreact.
That happens at least once a year, though.
Right.
Remember last year when Brad did it on for a tight end who was not the number 1 tight end on his team?
Yes, I very much remember that. But we can do things like we can overreact and say this is a team that's ready to go. This is a team that could make the title. And I also want to pick a team that's from a winner that, like, this is a Trojan Horse. This is a team that is 1-0 is better than they should be. And vice versa. Let's pick a losing team that we think don't hit the panic button yet versus slam the panic button and sell the whole team, and it's a rebuilding year. So, starting with our matchup, and I guess even before we get started, we made predictions. We're going to keep track of them this year.
Yeah.
You're very excited about this. I can hear it in your voice.
I'm just giving you the hands in like every aspect of fantasy football right now.
If you want your team to win, make sure I don't predict that you win. Because I went 0 for 5. I picked myself, Alex, Window, James, and Brad, and all of you and myself let us down. So, come on, guys. He went 3 for 5. He missed on Alex and James, but he did correctly pick, of course, himself, McMillan, and Daryl. So, let's get into it. Our matchup. Reactions. Thoughts.
I thought it was really funny how quickly you dropped Mike Gesicki. Like,
yeah.
Your homer pick just went right out the window there.
Well, so here's my thinking, right? Like, I did think he was going to be more involved in the offense, especially
Did he have a target?
He had like 1 or 2 targets, but he didn't do anything of note, obviously.
In a win, it's kind of surprising. Like,
well, it wasn't...
Tua is not a deep quarterback, like a throw it down the field quarterback as it is, and the fact that, like, Gesicki couldn't get a catch?
Gesicki, so I will say, Tua, generally, there is some chemistry between him and Gesicki. The problem really was, it was a matter of kind of like, their passing game. I don't know if their offensive line is still figuring things out. I think Austin Jackson suited up, but I don't know if he played the whole game. So they had like Liam Eichenberg, who's like a 5th round draft pick for us, starting at left tackle.
Yeah, I don't know who those people are.
Right, no one does. But anyway, the point is, like, Tua had less time to throw. They were doing like their most successful play was just a quick slant to Devontae Parker that they kept running like 3 times in the game. They got Jalen Waddle in some like bubble screen kind of situations. That's how they got the touchdown. So like they were getting other guys involved. And I really thought with Will Fuller suspended for 1 game that maybe Gesicki would get some extra targets, would get enough value to put him over Jonnu Smith.
And no.
And then I realized and maybe Gesicki, like, Buffalo's not a great defense against tight ends. Watch now that I drop Gesicki, he'll put up 20.
Probably.
But, like, Jonnu Smith is going to be my guy for now. If they're both going to have, like, mediocre values, I don't need to hold on to 2 tight ends.
I mean, obviously you don't need to hold on to 2 tight ends. But Johnny Smith is splitting with Hunter Henry, right?
Right, but he still got they were both splitting action. Jonnu got a fair share of targets in that game. And Belichick, we've seen
they use tight ends.
They love tight ends in New England. So, the Boston TE party.
Yeah.
Your team, played well, and we were talking about this before the show went live. For those of you who are watching, for all 0 of you, if you're in the chat, let us know. We obviously love to hear from you. But we were talking about this before the show went live, that like you had a couple coin flips where you went with one guy and put another guy on your bench, and the guy on your bench outscored.
Yeah, like last minute, I was on the fence with Tyler Lockett and Miles Sanders the whole time. Got that one wrong. I switched in Logan Thomas for TJ Hawkinson at the last minute. Got that wrong. I switched in Mac Jones for Teddy Bridgewater at the last moment. Got that one wrong. I picked up the Panthers defense. I had planned to start them, but I was still thinking about Steelers. I'm not going to say like that one because that was again,
Buffalo.
It was a blocked punt. It was Buffalo. I'm not going to worry about that one, but just those other three, I think I left like 25 to 30 points on my bench.
What helped you is that the guys who you started instead
still had good days.
None of them had a terrible day.
None of them had a bad day.
Right.
I mean, my lowest thing I think was, not counting the defense, was Logan Thomas, who got me 10.5. Which when you're getting 10.5 out of your tight end,
you're thrilled.
You're
yeah,
thrilled.
absolutely.
I mean, I would have rather had 22 out of my tight end, but you know,
yeah, of course.
We are where we are. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not complaining.
I'm
not complaining about my 135-point week.
I'd rather start Travis Kelce and Darren Waller too. We can't all have that luxury. No, I mean, and here's the thing. Like, I do think our teams have higher ceilings than this. Obviously, Josh Allen had a little bit of a down day for his standards. You know.
Well, sure. I mean,
I
mean, 4 points below his projection, like 17. I thought that the way the quarterback situation was going to work, it's like streaming quarterbacks is just not an option anymore. And I'm like,
no, it kind of is.
But a lot of good quarterbacks just had really mediocre weeks. I mean, we can get into the terrible weeks later, but like,
we're going to get there.
Josh Allen, I was not expecting 17 points.
Yeah, no, I mean, neither. I was expecting a better performance, even though it is a good Steelers defense. The other thing too, like I'm expecting at least a point out of my tight end. Allen Robinson had a down day, you know, in a game that I thought might have been more of a shootout against the Rams.
I mean, the Rams have a really good defense too.
They do. Like,
and you want to know the big problem with Allen Robinson right now is Andy Dalton is his quarterback. Right
sure,
now. When Justin Fields starts playing, maybe his value will go up a lot more.
And that, like, so that's why I would hit the panic button on my team, but I don't think I'm that team to hit the panic button on.
I don't think you need to hit the panic button yet.
At least not this early.
You also just didn't have anybody pop.
That's the thing. Yeah.
I mean, Nick Chubb was Nick Chubb. Like, you want 21 out of Nick Chubb. I'm a little surprised his projection was as low as it was.
Yeah.
At 14.
Yeah.
But no, like, you want 20 points out of Nick Chubb, so...
Absolutely. No,
no one else on your team really popped.
You're right.
So
you're 100% right.
And I mean, I wouldn't say anybody really super popped. I mean, like Christian McCaffrey and DeAndre Hopkins, I'm wanting 20 points a game out of them. So
absolutely.
Like, I just had a much more consistently high floor for a lot of my guys.
Yep, you're 100% right. And you had a tight end produce. Moving on to game 2. We've got Alex dropping it to Zach, and we both called Alex to win.
Fuck Zach's team. Zach's team is bad.
So is this your pick for the 1-0 team that is the Trojan Horse?
Like, I'm so mad right now. Like, looking at his team, like...
Because he scored 130.
He did, and he didn't get a ton of production out of his top 2 wide receivers. Like, so here's the thing. Mike Evans, I think he could have 5 weeks like this throughout the season. Like, there's just too many mouths to feed.
We talked about that.
Yeah, in Tampa Bay. There's too many mouths to feed. I'm just not, I'm just like... But he also, I think, kind of nailed a lot of his stuff. I mean, was he ever starting Mike Williams, who got him 18 points? I don't think he's ever starting over the 3 wide receivers that he had in those places.
Maybe like Cortland Sutton.
Maybe Cortland Sutton, but Cortland Sutton's the number 1 guy there
now, especially with Jerry. I mean, he was anyway, but especially with Jerry Jeudy now out.
Yeah, Mike Williams is always going to be the 3rd guy getting catches in that offense when you have Keenan Allen and I think Austin Eckler had 9 catches.
Yeah,
like he's always the 3rd guy.
The thing is that Zach has some of the higher ceiling guys in the league right now. Like Dak and Jalen Hurts can put up these kind of performances. That's their. I mean, like this is about their ceiling. Maybe Dak's is a little higher, but like
27 points I think is Dak's ceiling.
He,
I think Jalen Hurts. Like I would make a bet right now. Jalen Hurts does not have another game that good. Atlanta's defense is terrible. I can't believe that they didn't like trade back for. I mean, I know they wanted Pitts.
They did
want
Pitts.
But you could have traded back and gotten 2 defensive players, and they're like last year they just kept losing close games.
Right.
Like their offense, they were averaging like 28 points a game last year. Their offense wasn't the problem. They need defense.
No, I agree with you, but I think maybe with the Julio injury, they want to sell jerseys. They want the phenom, like once in a generation athlete.
I get it, but
here's the thing, right? Like Zach, though, my point was that I do think Dak has a slightly higher ceiling than that, but I think that's close to his like general ceiling. I think Jalen Hurts, that's about his ceiling. Joe Mixon, that's what you. I was big on Joe Mixon at the draft. He did what I thought he would do. He's gonna get volume this year, I think. So overall, like, and Darren Waller is Darren Waller. Like, that's what you expect from him.
Yeah.
So he's got 4 guys on his roster that I think they could do this regularly. But Zach's team, the problem was, and Devontae Adams had a down day. That's the thing. Like, that's why I wouldn't call him the Trojan Horse.
No.
Because I think those 5 guys are good enough that they can get him through the rest of his dumpster fire of a team, because the rest of his team is nobody. Like, I'm sorry, it's nobody.
Yeah. I mean, he definitely had some people who had down days. He also had a few people that I think pop bigger than they normally would. Like, I'm not expecting 21.5 points out of Darren Waller every week. Like, you just don't expect that out of any tight end unless their name is Travis Kelce.
Darren Waller's the dude good. This year.
I get it. I'm telling you now, like, if you want to set the over-under on his points per game for the year.
I mean, sure. I'm going to be...
I'm taking the under on 15.
Slamming the...
Like, I'm slamming
15, I don't know. I'm saying, if you're saying 21, I'm slamming the under.
The under on 20. But, like, if it's 15, I feel like 15 is a pretty fair line. Like, he might end up right around 15 points per game.
That's fair.
But, like, 21, I think, is a little high. I think Jalen Hurts probably just had his best game of the season. Again, he didn't really leave anything on his bench. Like, there wasn't points that he could have gotten from his bench. So this is again, I expect some to come down, expect some to come up. I think his team is better than they've produced better in this week than I think that the team is as a whole.
Is he your Trojan Horse? He's not mine. Is he yours?
Is he my what?
Like the of the winning teams, is he the one?
No.
That is the worst of the 5.
No, I don't think so.
Okay. I will say this. This is tough because I got to decide between Alex and Brad out of the teams of the losing teams that I think have the best chance to rebound. I love what I saw out of Antonio Brown. He looked like prime Antonio Brown. I do think Josh Jacobs had a better day than I anticipated. He's looking like he's a flex running back, which is what Alex needs in his lineup.
Josh Jacobs is just consistently, it's all about volume.
But he's his third best running back,
yeah,
right? And here's the
maybe.
Well, that leads to the next point. Here's the question for Alex. Zeke and Najee had terrible days. I think Najee I'm more willing to give a pass to because, like, it was kind of a little bit of a shootout, I guess. Like, it's, they're both good defenses. Like, Buffalo's got a good defense.
I wasn't big on Najee Harris. I think he's going to be better than
5.4 points.
He's obviously going to be better than that.
What's up with Zeke?
So Tampa Bay has, the best front 7 in
That's true.
Football.
That's a good point.
And they were literally like, yeah, we're not going to try to do the one thing that they're the best at. Like, Dak is also, relatively good at football. He can throw the ball, and not the Buccaneers secondary is bad, but the Buccaneers legitimately have the best fronts. Not legitimately, arguably the best front 7. Washington's also there.
I'm gonna put a pin in Alex. I might come back to him later as the team that is
I think that he should be a little concerned about his running back situation.
Wow.
Okay. Just because how often I think there's not a lot of people who are going to be starting 3 running backs in a given week.
Right.
But because of the half point PPR aspect to it, are you benching Zeke?
No, never.
No.
You can't.
So maybe he switches in Josh Jacobs for Najee, but he also used a pretty high draft pick on Najee.
You can't. I think if you're going to put...
It's kind of like you kind of have to leave Josh
If you're going to put... the only way you put him in is at flex, and you take out Robbie Anderson.
And one thing I will say that Alex, definitely panic button on your tight end. Like, I think there was this thought that maybe Robert Tonyan's actually good because he finishes the number 5 tight end last year. I was
super down on him.
But the reason he finishes number 5 tight end last year is he had that random 40-point game.
Well, and it was also there were a ton of touchdowns that he had. He was due for. I said I said the moment that he was drafted, regression. He's due for regression. But I don't think that Alex is my panic button team either. We'll get there. In fact, we'll get there right now. McMillan and Window. I want to take a minute here. And this is where I'm going to overreact a little bit, if you'll let me.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
McMillan, I apologize. I apologize. I was wrong. Baby, come back. You can blame it all on me. Wow. Like, and I get it.
I have a bit to say about his team here.
I get it. We're going to get there. The only thing I'll say is this. He put up a $160 essentially with a 7-point performance from Matt Ryan where Derek Carr put up 24. This could have very well been and he had Gronk on his bench put up 25, and I'm not saying like you never gonna bench Kelsey, but that's trade bait.
It's not really relevant to his score. But I also Gronk again, I think Gronk just had his best game of the year,
and probably right. But let's say he puts up 10 to 15 a week. You can't tell me that there's not gonna be a team out there that's gonna trade away whatever like a flex player.
So. I think we got to pump the brakes a little bit for the same reason that we just were talking about Mike Evans only having a 3-point day. Like, no, this week it was Gronk and AB. Next week it could be Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. But there's too many mouths to feed there to know for sure. Like, if you, I don't think that you can say seriously right now, oh, I'm expecting 10 to 15 out of Gronk every week. Because no, like, he might get you 4 because you got 5 other guys.
You are correct about the skill position players in Tampa Bay.
There's too many mouths. We're not even getting into the running backs.
The common denominator is the dominator that is Tom Brady. And once again, I said at the draft, this is the year we're going to see some regression, and maybe I'll be right about that. But right now, if I'm overreacting,
terrible Dallas defense.
I get it. But if I'm overreacting to one of the 5 teams and saying this is the winning team that I think has a title potential in it, it's the team that put up a $160 with a quarterback that put up 7. Like
he also had multiple players pop.
Adam Thielen, Amari Cooper.
Like, Adam Thielen's not a 20. Like, I wanted Adam Thielen.
But
I'm still mad I don't have Adam Thielen. He's not a 25.
Yeah, can you change your team name, please?
No, out of spite, because I should have him. My team name stays.
You know what happened to Jason Smith last year.
And I put up a $130 this week. I think I'm okay.
Listen to this jinx. He's jinxing himself.
There's no such thing as a jinx.
Says the guy who jinxes every one of his friends.
Okay, well, that's a different kind of jinx. That's not what we're talking about right now. Anyways, Amari Cooper, again, I bet that was his best game of the year.
Sure.
I just don't see some of these guys. Like, no, like, I think McMillan's team, I picked him to win this week. I think he has a solid team. I love Derrick Henry. For where he got Adam Thielen, it's a fucking steal because I should have had him. He has the best tight. He has the best tight end in football. He has 3 quarterbacks. Like, obviously Matt Ryan had a down week, but like, he does have 3 quarterbacks that he's comfortable putting in there. When Travis Kelce has his bye, like, he's not going to feel bad about having Gronk in the lineup. No, he has a very solid team. He had a couple of guys pop bigger than I would have expected. He had a couple of guys go low. He has a dangerous team, yes.
Here's the thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
He had a couple guys go low. He had Derrick Henry put up 9.
I mean, I think we're a little blinded by what Derrick Henry did last year. Like, if you're expecting 2,000 yards again, go nuts, have super high expectations. I don't think it's there, especially because you know he's not a factor in the passing game. This is a half-point PPR league.
Sure, but
he's very touchdown dependent.
But you can't tell me he's not going to get touchdowns. He's Derrick fucking Henry.
Here's the problem, though. Tennessee's defense obviously ain't that fucking good.
No, I agree with that.
And when they're giving up 5 touchdowns in the first 25 minutes of a game, hey, guess what? We can't run the ball 40 times.
They're also not going to play a lot of teams like Arizona, right? Like, Arizona's an elite offense.
They get their 2 games against Houston. They're going to get their 2 games
against Jacksonville.
But I don't know the rest of the division, or the rest of their schedule, how it works out. But, like, if they ever go down, he's in trouble with Derrick Henry.
No, I agree, but I think they'll be playing with a lead more often than not. I think they're an over 500 team. Yeah. So that's my team as far as McMillan. That is like of the winning teams. It's like this could be a title team that I didn't see coming.
I mean, I guess if that's kind of the threshold we're going with.
Well, like I'm saying pick one of the winning teams. Is like this is the title team. Let's overreact.
Overreact. Okay, keep going.
So, speaking of overreactions. Mm-hmm. I'm going to overreact a little bit on the opposite side. I think Window's in some trouble.
Yeah.
And I
said I didn't love his running back.
You called it.
I said your second wide receiver being DJ Moore. Who on his bench do you like?
No one put up more than 10. No one put up 10. I don't like anybody. Maybe Devin Singletary?
I gave him a trade offer, or I floated a trade idea to him last week, and he was like immediately like, yes. And I was like, okay, well, calm down. And he's like, I just sent it. I'm like, calm down. I said, I'm asking you, what do you think of this idea? So calm down on that.
Who was it?
It was a situation to get me a quarterback. I'm trying to remember. I think it was. Fuck, I can't remember right now. I can't remember. I'd have to go back and look at it. But anyways, the point is, like, I made it, and I threw out kind of a secondary offer to him. I was like, okay, well, what do you think about replacing this one player with this person? He's like, oh no, absolutely not. It's like, okay, no worries, all good. And I think he needs to be fucking reconsidering my offer I gave him now. Like, I remember the players that I offered. I don't remember the second person that. Oh no. I remember who it was now. I was trying to get Patrick Mahomes.
Okay.
Yeah, I know. I threw out Eckler and Hopkins for Mahomes and one of his running backs.
Wow.
But part of the problem was like I didn't like any of his running backs enough.
Yeah.
Just like none, like too many of them are in like timeshares, and I just didn't like that. Which is why like I was like, okay, pull back Hop, add in a different wide receiver. He's like, yeah, no, absolutely not. It's like, okay, it is what it is. Like I'm not selling the farm for Patrick Mahomes. Like obviously my quarterback situation is delicate.
I mean, here's what I'll tell you. And I wouldn't sell the farm for Patrick Mahomes, but
no,
there's a reason he went
number two
overall.
Sure. Absolutely.
And it's because he put up 33 points in week 1 in what looked like it was going to be a loss of a game against Cleveland until they came back.
They were always in it. But honestly, Patrick Mahomes going down only helps his fantasy value.
Sure, but it's just you see the difference between Patrick Mahomes and the run-of-the-mill quarterback Baker Mayfield. I mean, Baker Mayfield, I think actually that's one of the reasons why I'm panic buttoning for Window, because you can only have 3 quarterbacks in this league. Mahomes is one. His other 2 are Baker Mayfield and Trey Lance, right?
And he used too high of a draft pick on Baker Mayfield to only have 12 points. Like I got 12 out of Big Ben when I got him in the 12th round or whatever it was. Like he'd used by the 6th round, he'd used Baker Mayfield. This is part of the reason why DJ Moore is his second wide receiver.
Well, and here's the thing too. Like, it's not just that Baker Mayfield put up 12.5 points. It's that Baker Mayfield, you could see this happening again and again because they're running the ball.
In a game that they were winning. In a game that they were playing well.
Right. They're going to run the ball. They're going to run the ball down your throats in Cleveland with Nick Chubb and with Kareem Hunt. And so, yeah, I really don't see a lot of games where Baker Mayfield's putting up massive numbers. I could very well be wrong with that. And yes, he did have, like, Tampa Bay defense went negative.
But I also think Corey Davis popped more than he's going to. Like, the Jets are not a good team.
Sure.
You have a rookie quarterback and a terrible offensive line. I'm not having a lot of faith that Corey Davis is giving you more than 20 a game.
It's just like I said, that is the lineup you see him starting right now is the lineup he's going to start week in, week out. And aside from maybe Devin Singletary.
Williams, Jones, Singletary.
Singletary is his best bench player.
No, all 4 of them, though, are in timeshares.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I mean, Singletary probably had his best week. Zach Moss didn't play.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I'm hitting the panic button a little bit on Windows Team. Like, your bench is...
Told you. That's
your bench is scary.
That's rough.
One injury and...
Ouchtown population, bro.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make us bigger on this one. So let's go to this is the vomit bowl is what this is. This is James and Jason Smith. And kudos to James Waller, by the way, for changing his team name to this. Kudos to Window and Jason for running with this. I love it. It's so great. I just saw the wedding video. By the way, we're going to get to Jason Smith later on in terms of, like, it must be nice to have all this money to produce this beautiful, like, movie, like, motion picture-esque wedding video, to blow 40% of your fab budget on one player. Like, it must be nice to have just money to throw around. You know? Must be that new job. So, yeah, I mean, Jason and James with the worst performance of the week. And is this where you're going to talk about Aaron Rodgers?
I mean, no one expected Aaron Rodgers to come out and have the worst game of his career.
Alex last year did.
Who could have anticipated that after, spending the entire offseason bitching about his team and refusing to go to camp and, demanding a trade and threatening retirement? I mean, who would have known Aaron Rodgers wasn't going to come into the season focused?
Did you see the memes that I posted in the group?
Yeah.
It's like, Aaron Rodgers looks like he's about to cuss out the Board of Education. Aaron Rodgers looks like he's a Breaking Bad extra.
Yeah. Like,
oh.
I am concerned for James's team Because, again, another one of those situations where I don't love his bench.
Yeah, I mean, DJ Chark might be...
Okay, he had a good game. I'm a Jacksonville fan. I ain't trusting anyone in the Jacksonville offense.
So, I am...
Like, Trevor Lawrence is great. He doesn't have time to throw.
We
just got beat up on by Houston.
I'm less concerned with James's team than I am with Windows, primarily because the production out of his running backs and wide receivers, I think, is sustainable. Maybe not Marquise Brown. Maybe that's the one that's like popped a little bit more than normal. But like Dalvin Cook, Chris Carson, AJ Brown, Deontay Johnson rolling double digits, and you kind of expect them to be.
Yeah.
And
Mark
really,
Andrews was down.
It was
expect a little bit more.
But the biggest problem with James's roster was Aaron Rodgers, who should put up 20 points.
You're thinking 20 at least.
Doesn't put up points.
Which is why it was so funny when on the Facebook thing, he's like, 20 bomb coming next week. It's like, is that a lot?
Yeah, she saw my comment. It's like,
what?
This guy just literally said the words 20 bomb. A word we've never uttered before.
Hey, go get a 20 burger out of your quarterback.
20
that's
bomb.
what you wanted. Like,
no, but like, Aaron Rodgers, like, if Aaron Rodgers has a 25-point day, and if Ryan Tannehill has a 25-point day, all of a sudden that's 35 points that he's got on, and it's a closer game. He's in competition. You know, so I'm less concerned with James. It was a down day for his quarterbacks. Jason Smith, man, I was big on Kyler Murray. I was hoping and praying. I guess there was no way he was going to fall to 15 or 16 or whatever I was picking at. But like, I was like, come on, Kyler, somehow, some way, let me get you too. I was honestly thinking about doing Kyler instead of Josh Allen at 5. And that's why. Because their offense looks explosive.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm still...
I mean, DeAndre Swift overperformed.
So, DeAndre Swift is a weird thing. He's going to get the passing yards. He's going to be the passing back in that offense. I was a little more surprised to see that he was not listed as the starter.
Jamal Williams.
Yeah, like that was a pretty big surprise to me that he wasn't listed there.
I don't like DeAndre
Which is why
Swift.
DeAndre Swift is like a top 10 guy if Jamal Williams isn't there.
Sure.
And right now he sits at like running back 5.
Sure.
I think there has to be regression. Like he's not. I mean, honestly, San Francisco just all of a sudden decided to stop playing defense with about like 6 minutes left.
That was amazing, by the way.
Like what the fuck? Like the worst beat ever on -8. Like.
Was that a -8 spread?
It was -8.5.
Oh no.
It was -8.5. It's like they're like up 25 fucking points with like 6 minutes left in the game, and it's -8, and like somehow.
I hope people who bet on that cashed out when they could.
It's sick. But we knew he was going to have issues at his tight end.
Yeah.
Austin Hooper 4 points. I mean, you can't be mad that Austin Hooper got you 4 points. Like,
no.
You know.
He left some points on his bench too, by the way.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not big. I mean, Tyreek Hill has that ability to go off for 30 every week.
Absolutely.
He does. But you don't expect 30 every week. So there's going to be a little bit coming down there.
We talked about it on the before the week 1 pod that the biggest problem with Jason Smith's team is running back. And he keeps saying, like he was saying, like, oh, I've got 6 RB2s, looking to upgrade to an RB1.
Yeah. I was a little frustrated. I sent him multiple messages last week being like, hey, you want to try to work something out? Like, every day I kept, and he's like, oh, yeah, I'll look at it tonight. And he's like, oh, well, none of it's involved in the Thursday night game. I'll look at it before the weekend. And he just, like, never got back to me. And, like, first thing, he's like, by the way, I got 6 RB2s. Who wants one? I'm like, fuck you, dude. Like, respond to my message first.
But let's hold on. Let's pump the brakes there. Does he really have 6 RB2s? Because I look at those running backs, and I'm like...
Okay, I think the thought process is not performance-wise yet, but Mike Davis, you expected to be in an RB2 range. Chase Edmonds, you expected to be in an RB2 range. DeAndre Swift, you expect to be in an RB2 range.
I'll give him that one.
So Tyson Williams is right now is actually an RB1.
I'll give him Tyson Williams, Chase Edmonds.
Yeah.
But like, and I'll also give him his fab Elijah Mitchell. I'll give him those 3 as like RB2s.
Yeah.
The rest of his running backs are like flex plays, in my opinion. I'm not that big on
Leonard Fournette and Philip Lindsay are flex at best. But like, no, I mean, he has like 4 or 5 guys there that like are either right now RB1s or people you expect to be RB2. So I get what he's saying, but I don't know. Like I said, I had some talks with him. Like, hey, let's try to talk about it, and then he just like posts. To the ether, like, hey, by the way, who wants one of my shitty running backs? Like,
I love. First of all, great phrasing there. But also, second, I love how every week on the pod, like, there are at least 2 or 3 times during the episode, like, if you're playing the drinking game at home, there are, like, 2 to 3 times in the episode where you will try to make, like, you, like, lay the foundation for deals that you want to work out. Like, you use this time to negotiate.
I do. And you want to know why I have a problem right now is that I threw out feelers to a couple of different people, and on some of them I got straight up radio silence.
You didn't throw me any.
I did not throw any. Your team's bad. But no, like, I sent a couple of messages and just, like, literally got no response at all. So I'm a little frustrated by that. Like, at least, like, tell me to go fuck off. Like, right? Like, we do this to play the game. Like, are we just, like, I don't know. I don't know what's going on in your lives. Be better. Let's move on.
Go fuck off.
Yeah. I don't want anyone on your team, so I don't know what you're telling me.
Last game. Another Quan bites the dust and how I met Calf Your Mother, Daryl and Brad. So I talked about the team that I thought hit the panic button on of the losers. I thought this was about the title team. I need to talk about one thing I forgot to mention.
Smacking the buzzer on the panic button on Brad's team, by the way.
Okay. I didn't really pick like a wolf in sheep's clothing kind of like pick like a winner that. Which one are you hitting the panic button on, Brad's?
I'm hitting the panic button on Brad's.
Okay, I'll let you talk about that.
I have concerns.
Okay.
Another one of these situations, like, tell me who on his bench you're comfortable starting.
Jamar Chase.
Are you?
Yeah, I love Jamar Chase. I loved what I saw out of him in the. I know it was kind of like Cincinnati was throwing the ball, but like I liked that T. Higgins and Jamar Chase looked like serviceable wide receiving options moving forward. I do think like Will Fuller. We don't know. He didn't play. Those are the only two. Obviously, Fitzpatrick's done for the season, and so that kind of changes the calculus for Brad to.
I'm a little. I mean, I think we're all kind of overplaying. Like, I think it was a little overstated, the Fitzpatrick thing. Like, he picked him up off of the waiver, like off of free agency.
I get it.
And then you didn't start him, and now he's gone. It's like.
It's not that big a deal.
How much did it really change your season here? Like, let's.
But I do think he's got at least like one and I don't think Will Fuller's going to be serviceable. I'd say probably one wide receiver on his bench that I'd be comfortable starting. But I don't really think he needs that. Like, to be honest, that lineup he's starting right now, aside from maybe like it's going to be either Kareem Hunt or Jamar Chase, depending upon who blows up.
See, the thing is, like, maybe I'm overreacting. It's kind of what we're doing here.
Yeah.
I am concerned about the Green Bay offense.
I mean...
3 points out of Aaron Jones. And I'm pretty sure he used a first or second round pick.
I mean, who would have thought that against New Orleans, against a New Orleans team with what's his name? Jameis Winston, famous Jameis at quarterback, throwing those hot, crispy turnovers.
I'm just saying, I
3
have concerns.
points.
And if obviously Kansas City was down.
Sure.
They were down early. I get it. I've also just not been big on CEH. I wasn't big on him last year. I'm not big on him this year. Yeah. I think they want to throw the ball. You're paying Patrick Mahomes fucking $50 million a year. He needs to be the one doing things. Like, you don't want him to be a game manager. So I just don't see them all of a sudden running the ball 25 times a game. So I'm a little concerned. I think Brad's a little bit better off starting Kareem Hunt than CEH, but I don't know. Like, I have concerns about... I have concerns about depth, and I don't know. I just like I don't know. I don't feel like if I'm Brad right now, I feel very comfortable.
So I would say that of the I had Brad as my number one team going into the year, and I wouldn't say that he is the he's the everything's fine guy of the 5 losers. I'll say that I was debating between him and Alex for that. I'm gonna say Alex is kind of the fine guy for me. But I also do think for Brad, I'm not like hitting the panic button on him. I'm hitting it for Window. The reason I'm not hitting it for Brad is this. I do think Aaron Jones and CEH through the course of the year are gonna put up like 10 to 15 at least. Like, that's kind of, I think this was an aberration. I don't think this is their floor. So I do think...
I don't expect 3 points to be Aaron Jones's floor.
And that's the thing. If Aaron Jones doesn't have a a terrible, dismal week, he wins, and we're not talking about him in this way. Like...
I mean, if he puts up 112 and wins this game.
Right.
I'm not still feeling like 4 people put up 130 plus. Like
yeah.
And again, like I just don't see where he, like I don't know. I also think that Chris Godwin probably, again, I've said about like literally every time we talk about anybody on Tampa Bay, so many mouths to feed. You don't know if Chris Godwin's going to get you 19 points every week.
Right. I will say this, and I'm. This is no discredit to the man, because I think circumstances have aligned against him. But of the 5 winning teams, if it had not been for injuries, I would have said Jason is, of the 5, the weakest of the 5 winners. Jason Smith. But
Daryl right now is the weakest.
Daryl's in trouble, even though he won. Mostert's done for the year.
Like, am I crazy right now? Like, is there a reason? I mean, it obviously worked out in his favor. Well, sort of worked out in his favor. It actually cost him a point. But like, was Saquon not supposed to play?
He was struggling. There were reports out of New York that they were going to be very ginger with Saquon moving forward.
Which
he was going to be on a pitch count.
Again,
he's
three
recovering.
Points. It's just, I feel like you struggle to use a first-round pick on somebody and then not play them.
He and I were having text conversations about this. He was struggling with it. He decided to bench him because of the, like, how low the floor could be if they're really just easing him in, if they're just getting him back touches.
Yeah.
But for an injury to Raheem Mostert, maybe it would have paid off for him.
Or even into the flex spot, because Brian Ayuk put up 0. It's like
that. I mean, San Francisco was freaking weird this week, man.
It's like they like molly-whopped the fuck out of him, but then no one of note put up any fantasy points.
Well,
how does that happen?
Well, it's such a weird situation when you follow the reports. Like, Mostert goes down in the first series and is injured it's done for the year. Brandon Ayuk doesn't get a target, even though everyone was expecting him to be heavily involved. Trey Sermon didn't. Healthy scratch. It makes no sense, and they're saying Elijah Mitchell had a really good camp, and the last week really came on strong, and it's kind of a wake up call to Trey Sermon, hey, you're our 4th best running back, but now Mostert's done for the year, so he's gonna be on the roster, and I have Sermon, so it's that's why one of the reasons I wanted Mitchell, but
even Kittle 9.8 points, not like a jump out at shit. Who the fuck scored? What the fuck?
It was Jameis Winston. The irony of ironies
Jameis
here.
Winston. We're talking about San Francisco right now.
Oh, you're talking. I'm sorry. I thought you meant who scored on Daryl's team.
No. I'm saying who the fuck on San Francisco scored? Because I'm saying they put up 41 fucking points and no one of fantasy relevance did anything.
It was
Jimmy Garoppolo put up fucking 14 points too.
It was Debo. Debo had a lot of points.
Okay.
But no, I mean the bottom line is I do think that obviously Kittle's gonna have better performances than that. Yeah. I think that. For sure. The real question mark for Daryl is, with Judy on the IR for a significant amount of time, with Mostert done for the year, it means that his bench, which was looking good, and especially with the IU question mark, his bench was looking good. It is now looking thin.
He still, I feel like he has one of the better tight end combinations.
Sure. And I do think he's got enough to get by for right now, because Jameis had a great performance. Kamara's going to be fine.
I'm expecting some regression for Jameis Winston's eventually going to start throwing interceptions.
Sure. Damian Harris can plug in for Mostert if Saquon can't go. Saquon can come in at the flex if you really need him, and if not, then I don't know what you do. Maybe you start a tight end at the flex, honestly, because he doesn't have anyone else.
Yeah.
But
one of the things before we jump all the way off of this is the rule change that I proposed about playing against the average or playing against the top 5.
Yeah.
I'm going to keep track of those as the year goes through. Right now, the big winner of that situation is Daryl. Daryl is the only person of the winners who would not be 2-0 right now. Because he was not in the top 5. He also was well below the average. I think the average was 124 points for the week.
Yeah.
So Daryl right now is benefiting from that rule not changing. I think Window was one that is kind of being hurt by not changing to that, because I think he would have gotten a win on one of those.
I think he had 115 or something like that.
I think he was the number 5 scorer.
Yeah, that's the only reason. And it was only by 4 points anyway, so it wasn't a huge thing.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the waiver wire. This is a helpful graph that Brad was so kind enough to screenshot from the offers report, and obviously he noted in the black that Daryl missed out. So we're gonna talk about Elijah Mitchell in a second, but Daryl missed out on the bid. He put 13 37.5% of his budget into Elijah Mitchell, which was a large amount. I mean, for a week 1 player, there were a lot of guys in the week 1 waiver wire last year that like didn't do anything the rest of the year. You know, Zach Moss was a big target on the week 1 waiver wire last year, and people put money into him, and look what happened. But Jason Smith obviously puts 400 in, so Daryl misses out on Elijah Mitchell, and Daryl is the one who's most hurt by it because he lost the guy.
Yeah, he needs him.
Meanwhile, all the guys in red here that you're seeing, Gainwell, Ingram, Tony Jones, Jared Cook, Tyrod, James White, Jared Goff, and the Saints D, went for ranging from $15 to $74 and could have been had for free, essentially. No one else wanted them. So it's a really interesting. Thank you, Brad, for making this. It is very interesting to look at. Let's talk about Elijah Mitchell. I'll tell you, man, I thought I was being very generous in putting like almost 30% of my budget up, right? Like, and I think that like you saw Zach put up 20%, Window a little more. I put up 28.7, and then James puts up 30%. And then Daryl overbids because he's lost Mostert, right? But Jason Smith, who has other weaker running backs, goes 40% on this guy. It's bold.
I mean,
I'm not saying it's bad, but it's bold.
Yeah, I think it's... He has upside. He has, like, the RB1 potential. And Jason has a lot of RB2s.
Sure.
Which is why I think he thought, okay, if I can get an RB1 right now... My concern is, it seems like every fucking week San Francisco has a new running back who's going off. So, maybe he's the guy? Maybe Trey Sermon comes in and reclaims that role that he was supposed to have? Maybe Jeff Wilson comes back at some point? Like... There's a lot of options out here right now. I
get the logic. I do. In the sense of, like, I think Elijah Mitchell, more than any other, has the potential to be a potential, like, high-end RB2, low-end RB1. And, like, a lot of the, like, variables of, like, well, he could be this if this happened and this happened. He could be an RB1 or, like, a low-end RB1 if Raheem Mostert's out for the year. Well, he is. He could be a low-end RB1 if Trey Sermon isn't the starter. Well, Trey Sermon's not. So, like, a lot of things are already broken right that Mitchell needs to be the guy. So I get it.
But it would not surprise me at all, though, if next week Elijah Mitchell and Trey Sermon are in a 50-50 timeshare.
Absolutely. And it's in this. That's why I'm saying it's not necessarily a bad move, but it's a bold move. You have tied.
It could pay dividends. It could bite him in the ass.
You have tied your horse to Elijah Mitchell. Like, that's what's happened now. There wasn't really a whole lot else of major note. I outbid you for Marvin Jones. We talked about it before you got, before the we went live.
I was just kind of throwing in it.
You threw in
when it's 1,000, I'm literally just like, here's
a dollar or two. Like, that's all that is. Like, in a $100 bid, that's $1 or $2. Yeah, exactly. And I threw $8 at him. Like, it wasn't anything major. It's like I like to think of, like, if I'm gonna like throw like $7 or $8 out, it's like my weekly allowance. Like, I can throw this at 1 or 2 players, and whatever I get, I'm happy. And you can see I even threw out one for James White, like for like $4 or $5 that like, I'm not going to drop more than Mike Gesicki. I'm not going to drop Rondale Moore yet, in Arizona if they could
Speaking
explode.
Of which, guess who I picked up for free today?
Christian Kirk?
No, James White.
Oh, nice. No,
it's like you were willing to put 5% of your budget in, and it's like, and then I just got him for free.
Well, that's the thing. Like, and I didn't end up putting it in, obviously, but because I got Marvin Jones. I think of the two, I'm happier with Marvin Jones. I don't need. I mean, I've got Nick Chubb and Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah, and that was part of the reason why I actually didn't put something in for Elijah Mitchell. Is like, I have Eckler, I have McCaffrey, I have Sanders.
How often are you really starting?
How often am I putting him in? Like, maybe I can use him as a trade, but for the first couple of weeks here. No one's really looking to trade.
No.
It kind of seems like. I thought there would be more with the 2-quarterback system, but it just has not been the case yet. Maybe it will later in the season.
You want to see how your guys do. No one wants to like trade a guy before they know what they got.
Yeah, that makes sense.
The only other big thing the only other big things I would talk about are this. Gainwell I get from Brad. I think that's a pretty fair assessment there on that bid.
Nothing crazy.
Yeah, and the reason why is because
I might have should have had him on my radar. I know he got some touches this week with Miles Sanders. I still think Miles Sanders is the starter.
Oh, Miles Sanders is absolutely the starter, but I think Gainwell is that, like, Boston Scott, the reason why it's a smart pickup, Boston Scott did not have a snap at running back.
Yeah.
He only played special teams. So Gainwell's kind of like the RB2 there, and, like, especially if they're up by a lot and you know, like, he's getting carries. He's, like, we know how Jalen Hurts as a mobile quarterback benefits the running back role there because of the read option, that sort of thing. And the only other one I would really even mention is just Tony Jones Jr. was a smart pickup by Darryl to compensate for losing Mostert. He's kind of like, the best way I could describe it is Latavius Murray, but much younger. Like, he's a young Latavius Murray. So, like, why not get him?
And who has Kamara?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Darryl.
Always nice to have.
Darryl does.
Always nice to have your handcuff.
Yeah, even better.
Makes
So
sense.
you have your handcuff, and maybe he has sustainable value. It's kind of like a win-win for him. So yeah, interesting week of Fab. Yeah. Let's go to predictions.
Let's get after it.
Alex and I. Now, this is an important game. 2-0-1 teams. It's honestly, like, this is going to be, I think, a very close game. And I think a lot hinges. If I had to pick one player as, like, this is the guy who will determine who wins this game, it's Antonio Brown. There, like I talked about at the beginning of the pod, like how he looked in that first quarter, like maybe it's like a primacy and recency thing. We're taught as lawyers, like, make the first thing you say and the last thing you say the most important, the most memorable, because that's what people will remember. Primacy, recency. Antonio Brown, the primacy element of, like, the first quarter of NFL season, he's just torching the defense. Like, he's absolutely and again,
a very bad defense.
A very bad Cowboys defense. But like,
he's also playing a very bad Atlanta defense now too.
And but he looked like he was focused, like he's back to, like, old school AB, which, if true, that's the steal of the draft. Yeah. So I'm worried. I'm a little concerned.
I will say outright, I am picking Alex in this matchup. I expect a lot more from Zeke and Harris this week. I mean, pretty much anything is more than what they gave him last week. I think they combined for 7 points last week, or 8 points, whatever it was. Like, I'm expecting more. I actually do like his wide receiver situation this week with Antonio Brown playing against Atlanta. Justin Jefferson is who he is. I'm not loving the fact that Jonathan Taylor gets to play against the Rams defense this week.
Yeah, and I mean, I will say this. I love that Nick Chubb has Houston. I do think there's.
I expected more out of James Robinson this week against Houston, though. So, like,
sure,
but obviously, Jacksonville's offensive line is nowhere near Cleveland's offensive line.
Right,
Cleveland is the best offensive line in football. Like, Chubb should still have a good day, but I feel like just the combination of a lot of the matchups, I have to go with Alex this week.
So right now they have me as a 51% favorite. I do think it's gonna be a very close game. I'm gonna pick. Let me tell you something. I'm gonna pick Alex because I went 0 for 5 last week. So my hope is in doing so, I will give myself. I'm hedging hard. I do like Alex's team. I think the Vikings are gonna be playing from behind, which gives Jefferson a little bump. I think Chubb's gonna go off. I think honestly one of the X factors is Josh Allen playing against Miami. Miami gave sustainable value to Mac Jones, but they also
have a blueprint. Like, I mean, Steelers held him in check. Miami's defense is no slouch.
It's no slouch. That's honestly the other, like, the X factor for my team is Josh Allen, because there was that game in, like, I think week 16 or week 17 when the Dolphins were playing for the playoffs, and Josh Allen's like, "Hey, fuck you, I'm gonna have my best game of the year," and threw I think he had like 35 points. I
think you need to do the right thing here, and you need to bench Josh Allen.
No way in hell. Like, it's a win. It's hedging my bets. If Josh Allen goes off against my Dolphins and we're 1-1, like, so be it. Like, sorry, this is why I didn't want to draft Josh Allen, and I was considering Kyler in the first place. But, like, if that's what has to happen for my fantasy team to get its first win of the year, sorry. But on the other side, if it's kind of win-win, like, if Josh Allen craps the bed and I go 0-2, my Dolphins are 2-0, I'm going to take that too.
Yeah, but you definitely just jinxed it, and Josh Allen is going to do shit,
and
Buffalo's still going to win.
Yep. Devin Singletary's going to have the game of his life. So we're both going Alex. I'm actually
I'm gonna write it down now, that way we don't have to go back and watch the clip like we did before this started.
So I'm going to say
but they don't know about that, so it's okay.
Shut up. Alex,
I wonder
all right.
like, can we restore the chat? Can we do that? 'Cause
It's over here.
Somebody's been watching this whole time and no one is.
It's over here.
Fuck you, whoever's watching and not commenting. Let's go.
Hey, whoever's watching and not commenting, that's cool. Do your thing, but comment in the chat. Come on. You and Window, they have you as a 52% favorite.
Easy pick right now.
Go ahead and do your rosterbation.
My team's just. I mean, outside of quarterback, my team is just better.
Jerry picks himself, to the surprise of absolutely no one watching. I mean...
Now go ahead and pick me. What are we doing right now?
No,
What's this guy's deal?
I mean, I will say that your team has some favorable matchups. Like, Austin Eckler has the Cowboys. McCaffrey is McCaffrey. Mac Jones gets to play after playing against Miami and putting up like almost 20. He gets to play the Jets.
He does. I'm not sure exactly what my quarterback situation is going to be because all three of them have good matchups.
Yeah, but I mean, like, that's like good problem to have, right? I mean, like, overall, you know.
And again, there's still some potential of Tyler Lockett into the flex instead of Miles Sanders.
Sure.
Logan Thomas has a really good matchup this week.
Yeah. Like, you have a lot of good matchups, whereas like Mahomes Mahomes has kind of a little bit of a question mark in Baltimore. They looked awful.
Yeah. I expect him to be a little
but
bit
I expect
better.
kind of a rebound
performance.
performance.
I'm expecting Patrick Mahomes to give him 25 points. Like that, it is what it is.
Stephon Diggs also is going to have a tough time because he goes against Xavier Howard and Byron Jones. Like, you can't, like, it's a good secondary. The one thing Miami's defense has more than anything else is a secondary.
Yeah.
I really do think you're probably right in picking yourself. I'm going to pick you too. That moves us to game 3. Zach, who has the worst team name in maybe league history, against Jason Smith. This is a battle of 1-0 teams. This is like
the most we will have this week or the most undefeated teams we will have after this week is 3.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So,
I mean,
I'm sticking to take integrity right now. Fuck Zach's team. They're bad. Jason's getting the win.
That's simple, huh?
That's simple.
Right.
I also do. I mean, I do like his team right now. Like,
so, like I said, I do think Kyler is gonna like. The thing is, this is a really interesting matchup, right? Because Kyler and Dak, slight edge to Kyler, but it could go either way. They both could go off at any given moment.
I do think that Kyler Murray has a little bit better matchup. Like,
sure, but I think
Chargers defense, they have a pass rush.
I think Devontae Adams has a better matchup than Tyreek Hill, even though Tyreek Hill's obviously Tyreek Hill. Like, sure. I think Devontae Adams has a slightly better matchup.
You obviously expect Green Bay to bounce back a little bit, like
and
from the goose egg they just laid.
And both Herbert and Hurts have good matchups at the Superflex. The real
Hurts against San Francisco.
Yeah,
don't think I love that matchup, but
I mean, didn't they give up like 33 points?
I mean,
again, garbage time.
21 of them were in the last 4 minutes of the game. If you
points,
really expect
points are points.
You're right, but if you're really expecting 21 points in the last 5 minutes of the game,
I'm just also not saying that like San Francisco's like a defense I like fear my quarterback playing.
They're not a bad defense. They're a pretty good defense.
The real interesting part of this matchup, the way it kind of ebbs and flows. Running backs, I mean, I think Zach has the best one of the bunch.
Yeah.
But I think that Jason kind of makes it up in the depth and the flex, and he's got some guys on his bench like Terry McLaurin playing against the Giants.
Terry McLaurin, I don't know how. I think there's a reason he's on the bench right now, and I think
against the Giants though.
I'm just saying.
I don't know. He's got some tough decisions to make, and a lot's coming down to what Jason Smith decides to do. I don't like Mike Evans, but the difference maker for me in this matchup, if everything else is close, The one place where I see that it's not close at all is tight end.
Yeah.
And it's Zach, so I'm going with Zach.
Jason needs a tight end. Jason, hit me up.
Here we go again, trying to make trades. Third time. Matchup number 4. McMillan, I'm proud of your team name this year. I really am. It is fairly creative.
Everybody loves a good pedophile joke.
I thought it was funny. I thought you were saying that was funny. Versus Daryl, and look at the win probability in this early. And I don't know if it's because Daryl's starting Carson Wentz as why.
I don't know why it's.
But that's
131 to 112. Damn.
That's significant.
Yeah, we've already talked about the concerns we have with Daryl's team. I'm going to make this pretty quick. Obviously I'm going with McMillan.
I will also go McMillan because I called him as the potential title contender, and I also said that Daryl, because due to injury, was the one that had the most question marks. Just really quickly, I don't want to gloss over it too bad. I would just say that I again think there are some good matchups on McMillan's side. At Thielen at Arizona,
Brady at Atlanta,
right? There's
Kelsey
some
is Kelsey.
Yeah, I think he's got a couple good matchups. I would be. I don't. Here's the only issue on his team. Do you start a quarterback at Superflex if you're McMillan?
I don't think so right now.
I agree. That's what I was looking at. I don't think you can. It's Matt Ryan against Tampa Bay.
I think he's better if he's going to. I think he's better off putting Derek Carr in instead of Matt Ryan
against Pittsburgh. Though, look what they did to Josh Allen.
I know, but Derek Carr
is not as good as Josh Allen.
No. Derek Carr is still fine. I feel like I would rather have Derek Carr against Pittsburgh than Matt Ryan against Tampa Bay. But I don't think that's a hot take. I feel like that's just.
You know what I would consider doing?
I don't think he's going to start Gronk.
Start double tight end. Go Gronk and Kelsey.
It's not going to happen.
Gronk's playing Atlanta.
I know.
That's the dream matchup. That's what you want.
But this is also you seeing 25 points last week and thinking it's just going to happen again.
McMillan.
You know what, McMillan?
Be bold.
You want to fucking lose, go do it.
Be bold. Be bold. Take chances. Follow your gut.
Literally, if Gronk puts up 15, you're going to be really happy about it. If Matt Ryan puts up 15, you're going to be mad. So think about that. Ceiling and floors. Let's do this.
If Matt Ryan puts up 15, it's going to be a career day for him. Yeah, so...
Former MVP.
Yeah, that's a great pick. In 2004. Last matchup. James and Brad. Again, battle of 0-1 teams. You don't want to lose this. And again, a substantial win probability for James, though.
No defense right now and for Brad.
That would explain it because he picked up the Browns.
Yeah, so you figure another...
Against Houston.
8 points, I'm assuming. Somewhere probably around there. 7-8 points.
Probably be a little closer. It still would give the slight edge to James.
Yeah. But it wouldn't be 56%. No.
Christian Kirk, James must have picked him up today because he was on the waiver wire. I was considering picking him up. Honestly, if I were James, I might consider starting either him or DJ Chark because I don't love Marquise Brown. I don't get it.
Yeah, Hollywood Brown is kind of hit and miss.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go. Does Baltimore really get another primetime game back-to-back weeks?
Of course they do.
What the fuck?
Of course they do. It's Baltimore. They're gonna be a primetime team.
I'm just saying. It's didn't they play Monday night?
Yeah.
They get Monday night and Sunday night to start the year. That's fucking crazy.
Yeah. Well, it's also it is Baltimore and Kansas City. It's it's a high profile match. And remember when a year, I think it was last year maybe even, they had Kansas City and Baltimore Monday night and it was like Mahomes and Lamar Jackson when they were both blowing up. It makes sense.
So I'm a little torn here because I kind of said I'm kind of hitting the panic button on Brad's team a little bit.
But Brad is going to win this matchup.
I think Brad's going to win this matchup.
Yeah, he absolutely is. Lamar Jackson has a higher floor than Aaron Rodgers, especially after what happened last week. Dalvin Cook's slightly better than Aaron Jones, but they're both serviceable RB1s. I will give the edge to Carson over Hilaire.
Aaron Jones gets a good matchup.
But it's just the wide receivers for me. It's Chris Godwin gets to play the Falcons.
I'm still just not sure how I feel about Chris Godwin because it's a base situation. We've touched on it. Kareem Hunt against Houston, I love.
Yeah. And Trevor Lawrence against Denver. Denver's defense isn't that great. Tannehill against Seattle. It's kind of a wash there, I guess, maybe. But I'm giving the edge to
I think
Brad as well.
Yeah.
So we only have one. I can't catch up to your predictions if I'm only picking one different team.
To
be fair, I picked some first.
Which ones?
That one I did. I did Brad first. Like I said, obviously it was Brad. We can go back to the tape, whatever. But whatever. So yeah. Anyway, that's our show. Thanks for watching. We'll be back next week. Good luck in week 2, and please, like, maybe at some point, watch an episode live. Yeah. Comment in the chat. Not doing this for ourselves. I love the sound of my voice, but like, love some engagement here. Also, one last thing: be on the podcast. Like, this is super. I don't know if you watched week 1. Shut up. I can see you. Like, it was super easy in week 1 to have James on the pod to talk, over Zoom. Like, you can do it from the comfort of your own home. We're all familiar with teleworking now. We all have done this for the last year and a half. There's no excuse. You can do it from your phone. I don't care. It's all you have to do is get on Zoom. I'll do the rest. Get on the pod. Try and get engagement this year. All right.
There's been too many engagements. There's been too many weddings. Let's calm down.
I see what you did there. Lastly, league event. I had proposed going to AC the weekend of, I think it's Columbus Day, October 11th. I have a comp room at the Borgata. Do it big, do a league event. We could go watch the games. I'm sure we could go watch it at the sports bars and stuff like that. Like, they have betting lounges and stuff like that where we could just go watch the games and sit in comfy chairs and drink and have fun. Or we could hang out in a suite and do the same. Just throwing it out there. If we don't do that, we could always just watch the games in DC at Caddies or, Hagerstown, Frederick, whatever. I don't care. I just want to get together, start hanging out. And Daryl, please get back to us with a free weekend in November if you can, so we can all come out there to Massachusetts. All right, that's all I got. Anything?
We nailed it.
We did. This was a good pod.
Yeah. To
the one of you who watched, maybe it was what was that guy's name? Venom Viper?
If
it's you.
Love you, bro.
Yeah, like
you're dope. Tell your friends.
We'll kick someone out in the league for you. All right. Love you, boys. See you next week. And there we go. Oh, wait.
Do the outro. Come on.
Outro. Dude, we're so good at this. Yes. They play checkers. We play chess. That was the best episode.